Hey everybody, it's Stemy from the M. Carter Brown forums again. I've got an interesting project for you here. Basically, it's a fully automatic or semi-automatic select fire, fully pneumatic ion. And I was inspired by Mr. Danny D on the M. Carter Brown forum. So just like in most of my pneumatic modification videos, I like to explain basically the theory behind how it works, and I figured that the only way I could easily do that was on the computer screen. So we're going to go over this diagram and talk about how it works. Basically, you have constant air supplying both the SMAV3 switch. That's what the trigger activates. It's right up in this area, sort of connected on this aluminum bracket here. The SMAV3, and you have an FE4. It's supplied to the middle fitting there, and then you'll also have constant air supplied to the rear banjo fitting on the ion. That's the firing chamber. That's what makes the ball go boom, basically. So at rest, there's air being supplied up the middle, and this is a normally open, I think, up the middle and to the front banjo, and that balances the spool, keeping the bolt back. And then there's also air coming through the SMAV3 and into the pilot. So actually, I guess it'd be normally closed, wouldn't it? The FE4 would be normally closed, supplying air to the front QEV, coming through the SMAV3 into the pilot, and the pilot ram will push the spool so that it directs air to the front banjo. Now, when you pull the trigger in semi-automatic mode, the air will vent from the pilot out the SMAV3, and in semi mode it'll just vent directly out of the little selector switch. And when this vents, it'll shift the spool inside the four-way from this port here to this port. So this port will vent, unbalancing the spool, allowing the bolt to fly forward and make the ball go boom, and then air is then redirected from instead of here to here through the flow control valve, and then in semi mode it'll just stop at the three-way toggle. And basically, when you let go of the trigger again, the SMAV3 will redirect air back to the pilot, pushing the spool this way, directing air back to the front banjo, and rebalancing the spool. Now, in fully automatic mode, the exact same thing happens, but when you vent the air from the pilot, instead of venting directly out here, it'll vent through the flow control valve and down here. And then when it does vent, the spool will shift from the front banjo to the rear, allowing the front banjo to drain again, unbalancing the spool, firing the gun, and then when when the air switches back to the flow control valve, it'll come back through, reactuate the pilot, resetting it back normal. So it's like an endless cycle. Like, the pilot will be forward, drain, make the gun fire, vent, and then come back through and then recycle itself. And the flow control valve controls how fast the air can flow back through it. So it's basically what controls the rate of fire. So what I had here was I hooked it up exactly like the diagram, or almost exactly like the diagram. And when I did some test firing, it was like sort of sputtering in full auto and started venting. Basically, I talked to Danny D, and he said that QEVs solved the problem. So I went down to my local QEV supplier. Luckily, I have one in town, and they hooked me up with 3 QEVs. I got 3 because I needed one for my pneumatic faster project. So if you're interested in that, I also have videos on that. But we'll do a little demo here. I've got a barrel sock on here, and under the barrel sock is a like a swab just to keep the noise level down. So we got a 6845 here. Air it up. I was really impressed that this thing had no leaks the first time I aired it up, so yeah, we'll give a little demo here, and once again proving Danny D's concept, because he hasn't gotten the selector switch yet, but just so you know it works, buddy. So there's a semi-automatic mode. Yeah. Alright, that's semi, and then full auto. It's also fire rate adjustable, so we can turn it down, so this will be slower. Oh, that's actually that's way too slow. Okay. Still too slow. If you turn it too far down, it'll just not fire at all. So I'm trying to find a good balance here. It's very sensitive. Yeah, so that's how slow you can get in full auto. And then we'll just go a little bit faster here. And then even faster still. So it's a really interesting system. If I was going to run it, I'd probably run it about, let's go a little bit slower, probably about this level. I don't know, it sounds like 10 to 12 BPS. That's faster than I could pull the trigger, just, singly, because the pneumatic ion isn't really walkable. So just with single finger, that's probably about as faster than I could ever pull the trigger. So it's like a little boost in fire. So you can plink like that, and then when it's time to get serious, you can lay down the fire. Another interesting thing is here. I'll show you some pieces that I got. I got a full cubo kit. So that's interesting. I've never actually used the Q loader. I don't have the Q loader yet. Normally I use the longbow mags. So I'll show you all those. What a longbow mag is. So this is a longbow mag. It holds 20 balls. I have 7 of these. Holds 20 balls, and normally that's how I play. I play semi-automatic mag fed. But since I decided to do this fully automatic mod, I figured I'm going to start using a little bit more paint and need a little bit more capacity. So I hooked up the Q loader here, but I don't have any Q pods or a reloading socket, but that's what's in the works. The other thing that I'm kind of worried about is how I'm going to house all of these pneumatics somewhere safe and that looks normal. So what I was thinking is, I already bought one. I was going to take the frame from an SP8. For those of you who don't know what an SP8 is, let me find one for you. This is a smartparts SP8. It looks like an XM8, and basically it's made by smartparts, just like the Ion. It's got the same internals as an Ion. So I'm hoping what I can do is take the frame off an SP8, bolt it right onto my Ion here, and then house all of the pneumatics in the magazine there, because that's just a fake magazine. It houses the regulator, which is this piece here. And then I'm hoping that I can sort of tuck these pneumatics up next to the regulator, like in the front area, and have all the controls accessible from there. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out yet, but hopefully it'll work out for the best. And I think the SP8 frame will add a cool Milsim looks to the Cubo, which is already kind of a Milsim type body kit. So yeah, anyway, this is an interesting project. I'll do another update video, I guess, when I get everything in the magazine, but for now, that's about it. Thanks a lot, Danny D, for posting up the schematics. It's a really interesting design, and for all of you who have seen my videos before, you know that I'm really interested in pretty much any pneumatic modification to a gun. So that's about it. See you guys.